This is the Nomadic Traveler Podcast. What's going on, everybody? This is your host, Jason, with the Nomadic Traveler Podcast, and our wonderful co-host is here, standing by, Miss Lovely Nicole. She can't speak. She's so speechless with that wonderful introduction.
Hey, guys. What's up?
Oh, your mic doesn't work. Fantastic.
Why didn't you turn it on?
Yes.
Hey, guys. What's up?
We had our normal mic screw up with Nicole. I think that means we have a good show. Like every time you forget to turn the mic on, we have a great show.
No, that means that you surprised me, and I was not ready.
Oh, it was turned off on your end.
Yeah.
I didn't turn it off.
Hey, guys. What's up? I'm so excited for the show. Are you ready, Jason?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Who's on the show?
Jess
Lindgren.
who?
Lindgren.
Yeah.
All right.
She's awesome.
Where's she from?
California.
San Diego.
Yay.
So we met Jess at the podcasting convention, right?
Yeah. That long name. Yes. She was a speaker there.
And she was so awesome that we had to try to see if we could get her on the show.
Yeah. And she agreed.
She agreed.
Ding, ding, ding.
Well, she didn't know any better. That's too bad.
Yeah, I think she'll be great, though. We're going to talk about a lot of her travels that she's done by herself, so that's kind of cool.
She's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
So, solo traveling specialist.
Yes. Ooh, that's a good title.
Jess, the solo traveling specialist.
We'll have to tell her that. She can add it to her resume.
Okay. Is that all we got for the intro?
That's all we got.
All right.
Yay.
Up next, the show. All right, we're going to start our interview with Jess Lindgren. She's going to be our solo travel expert. How are you doing today, Jess?
I am doing so well. Thank you so much for having me.
We're super excited to have you.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Our first question is going to be, what inspired you to take your first solo trip?
Oh my goodness. What did inspire me? So I have been an executive assistant for 15 years, and after 10 years of being an EA in an office, I just kind of got tired of limited, not being paid super great, to be perfectly honest, very low vacation balances. And with a demanding role like being an executive assistant, it's really hard to get away from the office and truly be on vacation. So about 5.5 years ago, I decided to quit my job, go freelance, and then work as a freelancer wherever I want. And, whether that was from my kitchen counter in Northeast Minneapolis or, from a coffee shop in London, it's like, which one would you choose?
Right.
I would personally choose London.
Yeah.
Like any day of the week, So I was just like, all right, well, I've always wanted to go to Europe. It's hard to do when you've got that, again, limited vacation time. Now that I'm a freelancer and I can work whenever I want, wherever I want, let's just go and be in Europe.
Yeah.
And, with the jet lag, the time zone difference, the hassle and the expense to get there, you might as well be there for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I went for, 6 weeks at a time and just worked the whole time.
Wow. That's awesome.
We always preach that on the show, that if you're going to go somewhere, you may as well make it into a longer, enjoyable trip. So instead of going back and forth 3 different times to someplace, go for 3 weeks and really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And just, get to adjust yourself to the time zone, get to know your local coffee shop where they see you every morning and they say, oh, hey, Jess, the usual today.
Yeah.
Or, know where your favorite baguette is in Paris. Know where to get the best price on, I don't know, carrots if you're in Brussels, like whatever it is that you need. Like,
Right.
you know where your favorites are and you kind of get to travel like a local. And then you have time to do a little bit more rather than feeling jet lagged and tired and, like you're rushed, like you're low on time. If you have the time to really space out and be there and get comfortable, it's just such a more enjoyable trip.
So side question.
Yeah.
Do you only get to take a vacation when your executive is taking a vacation? Is that how your time is dictated.
That's how my time used to be dictated. I remember kind of the last straw for me. I actually did take some vacation time. It was for a girls' week, and me and a group of girlfriends were going to go to a cabin, middle of nowhere. And I remember first thing Monday morning when I was supposed to be on vacation, 8:05, I got a phone call, and I was just like, okay, this is it. Like
Yeah.
I am so over this. And so just after going freelance, I just set really strict expectations with my clients, and I said, okay, I'm available on these dates. I will give you as much notice as possible when I'm going to be out of town. Please know that when I'm on vacation, you are welcome to contact me, but I will charge you double for
Right.
that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome. Boundaries.
Yeah,
What?
heck yeah.
Yeah.
We're all about boundaries too. So
Yes, absolutely. And then do you know what funds your solo travel? Somebody paying you double for a task
Yes.
that if they had waited until you weren't on vacation,
right.
Yeah. Right.
that kind
Right.
of stuff, and thankfully I've been so lucky. I mean, I really set the expectation for myself after going freelance that I wasn't going to work with people who suck anymore.
Yeah.
And so I don't work with super demanding, rude, boundary like ignoring people
Yeah.
anymore.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I just work with people who have those boundaries in their lives too, family time, home time, vacation time. Those are all very sacred, special things, and we respect each other's boundaries.
That's
And that's
perfect.
the way it should be, right?
Yeah. And I think our listeners can really relate to that because we've been talking a lot about just how to have that time instead of waiting till the end of your life to have, time off.
Oh
But
my
having
God, do
that.
it. Do it now in your 20s or 30s when your knees are still good.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
I
what I
don't,
say all the time.
yes, oh my God, I don't want to go trek, 20,000 steps a day through Versailles when I'm 70. I
Right.
want to do it now when I'm not tired. When I'm 70, I want to be sitting at home with my golden retriever in front of a fireplace drinking hot cocoa,
Absolutely.
It sounds wonderful too.
reminiscing about my days in Paris. So,
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. What would you say is like the most exciting part of actual solo travel, like being alone? What is the most exciting thing for you?
the most exciting thing for me is getting to set my own schedule even more than I do when I'm at home. When you are solo traveling, you get to stay up as late as you want. You get to sleep in as late as you want. You get to
Mm,
go eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner wherever you want, whenever you're hungry. If you're just not feeling like going to a museum on Wednesday, you can stay home or you can go somewhere else. If you're like, you know what, I was thinking about going to this museum today, but do you know what I really feel like doing? Taking myself out to lunch and people watching for 3 hours.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
You can make those decisions without having to get 10 other people's approval and potentially causing a fight about, well, today was supposed to be museum today and tomorrow's supposed to be adventure on your own. And why would you throw away the plan, Jess? And it's just like, because sometimes you just don't want to do what the group wants to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just always want to do your own thing.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
I
that
love
is
that you
hard.
get to pick.
That's awesome.
So what was your very first solo trip like?
My very first solo trip was to New York in 2014. I had always wanted to go, and it was on the heels of a conference that I ran. And the trip itself was very highly anticipated because I had always wanted to go to New York someday. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a famous Broadway actress. And instead of being an actress, now I am a patron of the arts. So instead, kind of idolizing being able to see theater on Broadway.
Yeah.
The trip was very highly anticipated, and I got to New York. I was exhausted because I did not take a couple of days off after running the conference.
Oh,
It was July in New York, which, if you've ever been, is hot and humid and sticky.
mm,
And it was incredible. It was amazing. It just it blew my mind in so many different ways, even though I was tired and I was hot and humid. And I was staying, oh my God, it was my first experience with Airbnb. And Airbnb was very different 5 years ago. Um, I decided to stay with this gentleman who had a loft apartment in Brooklyn.
nice.
And it was very New York. You know, his place looked like an antique store, like lots of funky furniture and a painted floor. And he had made a bunch of different little like mini apartments inside of his apartment, which I'm sure is extremely illegal and
Yeah.
not up to fire code. And like I said, I mean, the place itself it was really fun and really eclectic and really beautiful and full of really amazing people. It was like kind of like a little unofficial hostel almost. Um, and he was a really funky, cool dude. But it also made me realize that I'm kind of old because I didn't have air conditioning. And I was just like,
Oh,
okay, the next time I come to New York in July, gotta have air conditioning. That's like a
Must.
bare minimum is you must have air conditioning. And you must, especially if it's going to be a hot and humid time, you must have access to your own shower and or bathtub so you can cool off appropriately at the end of the day.
so how many other people were staying in that one
Oh
apartment?
my God. It was so many people. And like in addition to the like 8 people that were staying there, so the one dude lived there. I was staying there for like 5 or 6 days. Somebody else was staying there for like 3 months. Another person had been kind of coming and going off and on for 6 months. Like
Wow.
it was wild. And then this dude would have like drum circles in the middle of the night. Like I would just come
Oh my
home
gosh.
after wandering, the financial district because I just got lost in Manhattan on purpose. I'd come home super late at night and he'd be like jamming and smoking pot with his friends in the living room. Or like one day I came home in the middle of the day and he was doing like a boudoir photo shoot with somebody on his kitchen table.
Wow.
It was the most incredible the most New York experience I could have had
Yeah, you went
ever.
big.
I mean, it was totally accidental.
That's what I was gonna
Like
say.
I
That's about as New York as it gets, though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just the quintessential New York experience. I really wish I would have had that experience when I was 18.
Yeah.
At 30, I was just like, okay, this is cool and all, but like, I'm tired, y'all. I need a shower. I need to wash my dress because I packed a backpack.
Oh wow.
I like to travel light because I was like, I can get away with 3 dresses. You cannot get away with just 3 dresses in July in New York. You can't. So I'm like trying to hand wash my dresses and like hang them in my tiny little illegal box on the second level of his apartment.
That's hilarious.
I ended up having to find a place that would do wash and fold for me. If you're not familiar, that's a place where you can like drop off your clothes and they will wash them for you. And then you just come back at the end of the day.
Hmm.
Because otherwise, I would have had to find a laundromat, buy my own soap, sit there for 3 hours while everything washed and dried. And
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm going to pay the money. So I ended up paying like $12 or $15 for somebody else to wash my tiny little clothes because it was so humid in this place. I could hand wash my dresses, but it was so humid it wouldn't dry.
Yeah.
Oh. My goodness.
Yes. So it's like I said, just amazing. Like I said, I was exhausted out of my mind, had just worked for, a week running a conference, hot and humid and sticky, and in this tiny little illegal apartment. But it was so good.
That is
Um,
awesome.
I made friends that I'm still in touch with to this day, some of the fun, hippie, drum circling, pot smoking people, and I hope that's okay to say on your show.
Yeah, no, it's
Let me know
fine.
let me know if anything's off limits. Now that we're already knee deep.
That's awesome.
Um, I ended up seeing 3 Broadway shows in the
Wow.
week that I was there. I saw Neil Patrick Harris playing Hedwig,
Oh, I heard
which
about
was
that.
it was incredible. I saw, oh my God, what's his name? I saw Alan Cumming play the MC in Cabaret,
Mm.
which was really incredible to me because, again, theater major for like a year and then decided I didn't want to be a waitress for the rest of my life and decided to be a communications major instead. And no offense to people who are working actors, they are amazing and the light of my life, and I love to come see you work. I'm just not that motivated.
It's not for you, right?
It's
Yes.
not for me. I love being a patron of the arts. I donate, I go to see shows all the time. It's my jam.
Yes.
But so Alan Cumming had been playing the MC in Cabaret when I was like 15. So to get to see him reprise the role on Broadway 15 years later, just total bucket list life goal, check it off. Like it was incredible. And what was the third show I saw? I saw The Cripple of Inishmaan, which was a show starring Daniel Radcliffe and the original London West End cast.
That's so cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a website. I can't remember which one it is, but there's a website that'll tell you celebrities on Broadway.
Okay.
And then you can kind of scroll through the shows and see what celebrities are in shows right now.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was between Daniel Radcliffe, who, as you probably know, was Harry Potter.
Yes.
Hmm.
So it was between Daniel Radcliffe in that show, or I forget the gentleman's name, but he played Roy on the IT Crowd. He was in Of Mice and Men at the time.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
nice.
Yep.
That is
So I ended
so
up seeing
cool.
the Daniel Radcliffe show. It was super cool and just on a whim and super cheap tickets and got to I didn't get to actually go see him and shake his hand, but I did see him leave the theater at the theater door.
Hmm.
What a
That was
well-rounded trip. I mean, that's
it was it
that's
was
amazing.
incredible. It
Yeah.
was an incredible trip and just like I said, I got lost in Manhattan. I stumbled upon the 9/11 memorial after hours. I didn't realize that they closed that
I didn't
at
either.
night. Well, because it's a fountain that goes down, and I'm sure they don't want people throwing things into it or jumping into it or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, oh, it's a fountain. It's got to be open. It's not open 24/7. It closes at 8 at night. But I ended up I will leave you with this, my first solo trip, my very favorite part of my first solo trip, because I was all the way down in the financial district where the 9/11 memorial is. I looked at the map and realized I was quite close to the Staten Island Ferry. The Staten Island Ferry is a free service provided by the city of New York that ferries people between Staten Island and New York.
Hmm.
And so people can get on it to go to and from work or, home or whatever it is that you're going to do between the financial district and Staten Island. So I was like, well, it's there and it's free. Seems like a thing that I should try. Why not?
Right.
Yes.
Ended up on the Staten Island Ferry super late on a Sunday night. So just imagine it's 11 o'clock at night. It's humid. It's New York. It's dark. I get on the Staten Island Ferry. And at that time, again, this is a commuter ferry. So this isn't a bustling touristy thing. This is full of people commuting like you would see on a bus,
Hmm.
going to and from work, going home at the end of a night out in the city. I end up on the ferry and it does shuttle you back over to Staten Island. Do you know what you can see on your way from New York to Staten Island?
Statue of Liberty.
Statue of Liberty. So
That's
I am
awesome.
out on the deck of the Staten Island Ferry by myself and with the Statue of Liberty. And I'm choking up just thinking about it because
Oh,
it was such an amazing moment. I'm getting chills. I'm sitting here in my office in San Diego. I am getting chills right now
That
just thinking about this moment of
you,
me standing there with the Statue of Liberty by myself on this ferry, nobody else even cares that she's there.
so
right.
do you wish that you experienced that with somebody else, or was it still worth it to do it solo?
It was incredible to do it by myself. It is
Yeah.
a private, special moment that I have a couple of selfies. I legit started crying on the ferry because it was just so powerful and
Yeah.
so amazing. And the other thing that I did, in addition to crying, I'm not even going to lie to you here. I fired up my phone. My hands down favorite album on the face of the planet is Simon and Garfunkel's Concert in Central Park.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Just imagine that you're on the Staten Island Ferry by yourself. It's dark, it's hot, the wind is blowing around you, you're looking at the Statue of Liberty. I played the song America.
Yeah.
Ah!
I
Yes.
love it.
That is awesome. I also too wonder if that would have been if you were with someone else and you weren't by yourself, would that be an experience that anyone else would want to do
Would they
with
even
you?
care?
Yeah.
Would they even care?
Yeah. Yeah. Would anybody else be like, yeah, sure, let's do that? Or is it,
Yeah.
only because you're by yourself you got to go?
And
Well,
that's one of those things that you can't do if, oh, I'm tired, my feet hurt. Yeah, we're down in
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
the, I want to go home, blah, blah, blah. No, I want to go on the Staten Island Ferry at 11 o'clock at night and hang out with the Statue of Liberty.
That is so cool.
I
I
love
love
it.
that.
That
That
is
is
a
amazing.
that's an absolutely amazing story. I love it.
Yes.
So 15 minutes later, the answer to your question is my trip to New York was very memorable.
That's awesome. Do you think that solo travel could be for everyone?
Yes, I
Yes.
absolutely
Okay.
do.
Okay.
I very much do. Regardless of your financial abilities, regardless of your physical abilities, there are definitely places in the world that are less accessible. If you live in the United States, getting to, let's say, Paris might be cost prohibitive. You might have a limited amount of vacation time. There is a lot of Europe that is old and historic and unable to be updated.
Mhm.
Like you can't put an elevator into the Paris catacombs. You just can't
Yeah.
Right.
without risking the structural integrity of the catacombs themselves. So, there are parts of it. And I think sometimes those parts get sensationalized or they get more coverage. Or if you do have a disability of some way, shape, or form, you're like, well, I can't go to that one thing. I guess I can't do anything at all. Like that one thing
Right.
just kind of becomes the thing that you're like, oh, well, I guess none of Europe is accessible to me. And that's just not true. Like there are so many other things that are accessible. I forget exactly which museum it was, and I'm pretty sure I saw it in more than one museum, and I'm pretty sure this one was at the Louvre, so someone may need to correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a tactile gallery at more than one museum. So they put small replicas of famous artworks, paintings, statues, different materials that things might be made of that people with,
Like
disabilities
yeah.
can touch. Like you can touch it. Whereas like in the
Uh,
gallery, you can't go touch the David statue, but you can touch this miniature to scale replica that's made of the same material.
that is really cool.
That is really
Isn't
cool.
that amazing?
Yeah, that is
I
amazing.
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yes, Europe, museums in Europe are the best. Like they are incredibly interactive. They are very geared toward activities for children. They are doing a lot of really great stuff to make it accessible and make accommodations for people, whether that's discounted tickets on certain days, whether that's audio guides, braille in most galleries so that you can read the description of the painting and who it's by. And like I said, the tactile galleries are really my favorite thing.
That is amazing.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Okay. So, is there any packing item that you feel is important to pack for a solo trip versus any other type of travel?
For a solo trip versus regular
Yeah.
travel,
Like maybe mace or something. I don't know.
so my personal rule, and I have been to countries that are largely um, reasonably safe, or at least they were safe in my experience.
Mhm.
I have not been to countries that other solo travels have cautioned me against as being maybe not as safe for solo travelers, or definitely less safe for female solo travelers. So my experience is going to be a little bit different. And then my personal rule, like something like mace or brass knuckles or whatever, I didn't bring anything like that, nor did I feel that I needed anything like that. Since I was working, my rule for myself was to try and be home, or at least on my way home by the time it was getting dark.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's
I
good.
mean, that wasn't like a hard and fast rule. Like I definitely went out after dark and had nights where I stayed at the pub until it closed at 1 or 2 in the morning. But that was kind of my general guideline was, okay, you're by yourself, you're in a foreign country, you're 7 to 9 hours off from anybody who can help you.
Right.
Like it's
Yeah.
not a bad idea to get
Yeah.
yourself home or at least on your way home by dark. Um, so the one thing I would say, it's really going to vary by traveler, but for myself, the thing that I found the most necessary was snacks.
Yes.
Nice.
Like I'm not diabetic, but I do definitely, if my blood sugar drops, my ability to function greatly diminishes
Hmm.
rapidly.
Hmm.
Like I can't make decisions anymore. I can't read subway maps. I can't, like, just a lot of my computing power. If I don't have a high enough blood sugar level, and I am the kind of person, excuse me, I'm the kind of person who, where was I going with this? I forget where I was going with this, but basically the snacks turned out to be the
More.
number one thing that helped me.
Yeah.
And especially as somebody with dietary restrictions, I am lactose intolerant and allergic to black pepper.
Oh
Really?
wow.
Yes. So those are two very difficult to manage, especially in other countries like France, especially. There's milk in everything,
Or
there's butter on everything.
cheese.
Yeah.
Yes.
All the good
So
things.
just making sure that I had, and I would pack a beef jerky that I really like, and then a like little individual packs of nuts.
Mm, that's a good
And so
idea.
then I would always have, good protein, something with a little bit of heft to it, even if it wasn't super heavy. Like the beef sticks are like 100 calories, the nuts are like 200 calories, but at least it's enough until I could get to a restaurant or grocery store. And again, using France as an example, their restaurants close after lunch and until dinner time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you find yourself from that like 2 to potentially 7 or 8 window and you're hungry, you could be out of luck for
Yeah.
a while,
Yeah.
depending where you are.
Wow, that's a good tip.
That's
I
an
didn't realize
excellent
that.
tip.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, like,
wonderful.
be advised that some countries, France was the worst for this in terms of the blanket hours. Like you could still go sit and have a coffee, you could go have a pastry, you could go have a cocktail, a glass of wine, sit and people watch. Like the restaurant itself was open, but the kitchens would close.
Wow. That makes
Yep.
sense.
And
So having snacks.
For sure. Do you going along with that, do you know any like solo traveling apps that maybe might help you learning this type of information or knowing where the closest thing is or anything that you find valuable as far as like an app?
The apps that I personally use the most are Yelp, of all things, because I figure if you can make the people on Yelp happy, you can make just about anybody happy.
Truth.
that's an amazing tip.
Like I don't find Yelp to be the end all be all. It's not the holy grail. It's not like, oh my God, if Yelp says this is the best, then it's got to be the best. Because that actually steered me wrong one time. I think I was in either the countryside, I think it was the countryside in England, somewhere in the UK. And I just been like walking or taking random trains or whatever and just kind of, again, got lost on purpose. Not like actually, oh my God, I'm panicking, I'm lost. Like I got lost on purpose
Mm.
and found I was like, okay, what's nearby? So these are the steps that I take when I open the Yelp app. I open the Yelp app, let the map load, and then I want to look at what's nearby, what has the best rating, and what has like depending on my budget. So like I pick whatever my budget is. If I'm feeling fancy, I'm like, yes, I need a steak dinner right now. I'll say, okay, my budget is $3 or $4 signs. But if I just need cheap, fast, and good, then I'll pick $1 sign,
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
right?
perfect idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So I found this place and it was just like, had hundreds of 5-star reviews. And I'm like, oh my God, this has got to be the best then. I'm
Yeah.
so excited to go here. I had never heard of it, showed up there. It was basically like a glorified chainy, like what would you even like an Applebee's or a Perkins?
Yeah.
Just
Wow.
like not good food.
Yeah.
Not for a
Not
trip. Not for a
at all.
trip like that.
No, like not when you want to like eat really good food in the English countryside. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, what is this? This is horrible. I mean, I was super hungry, so I had to eat, but it was like breaded and fried and felt really just chainy and not good.
Was
Yeah.
gross.
So that's why I say like Yelp is not the end all be all, but it's a good guideline because again, you make people on Yelp happy, you can make anybody happy.
Yeah.
And it will also let you sort by what is open right now,
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
which is super helpful. And then the only other app that I really use when I travel is just my Google Maps app.
Hmm. Okay.
So I'll just kind of say, where am I right now? What do I want to do? Where do I want to go? If I'm going to a museum today, how do I get to that museum? And Google Maps is incredible. The last time I was in Europe was 2017. So it was like June 2017. And Google Maps, especially now, I mean, that's 2 years later, Google Maps will pick up what are your train options? What are your bus options? What's your driving option? It'll even suggest, do you want a Lyft or an Uber? Like
Perfect.
it will give you all those options to get where you're going to go. And then if you just kind of zoom in just a little bit on the map, on the route to your wherever you're headed, it also pops up and says, oh, these restaurants are nearby. These other activities are nearby. Like you can just kind of get a sense for what's in that area.
Yeah, that's perfect. Especially then you don't have to have like three different maps going. You just have the
Yeah,
one kind of
it's
central.
just, yeah. Yeah.
That's a perfect tip.
All right. That's the end of part 1, solo travel with Jess.
Yeah, it was so good. We couldn't.
Oh my gosh, it's just it just has so much information all packed in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to split it up. So you guys will have to wait to hear the rest of it until
So
next
yes,
week.
so everybody's going to be bummed out, but the questions are on the end of next week's show. They are not on the end of this week's show. So everybody that submitted questions, you have to wait one more week.
But you did get them answered.
So yes, we had 5 questions submitted, and we got 5 questions answered. So everybody got their questions answered. If you would like some Nomadic Traveler podcast swag, please PM us with an address or something where we can mail swag to, and we'll send you something cool. Yeah. And man, I enjoy this much more than I thought I would.
It was great. Yeah. Yeah. Next episode's good too, because we got kind of further into some of her trips as well.
Yeah, the next episode's even better, I think. So the next episode's slightly longer. Mm-hmm. So there'll be a little bit more to that one. And we answer all the questions at the end. We get a hidden gem from Jess. We also get a don't do that, yes, from Jess.
Yeah, and if there's any questions that you guys have, or if any of you guys have been on a solo trip and you'd like to maybe post some pictures on our Facebook page,
that would be fantastic.
That would be amazing, because we love to hear from your experience too.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Or if you want to send us something at nomadictravelerpodcast@gmail.com. There is no the in front of that.
Yeah.
You can send us something that way as well too. So
you know what I'm interested in? If there's any men out there that have done a solo trip, or what that looks like for them. Because most of the stories that I hear are women. So if anybody out there has, that'd be
I'm sure
cool.
there are, I would think.
I'm sure there are, but if anybody wants to send us their side of the story, that'd be kind of cool to hear.
Yeah.
Perspective. So.
All right. That was amazing.
Yeah, all right.
Anything else we want to cover?
I think that's it.
Do we want to thank anybody?
Everyone.
We want to thank everybody, right?
Thank you. Yes. We've been having a lot of good luck lately.
Yeah, things have been going well. Things are growing, so we're excited about the growth. We've got lots of new things we've been working on. We got lots of things we've been working on the last 2 weeks. That's why episodes haven't come out, because we're doing tons and tons of research and networking and getting new guests, such as Jess, for you.
We learned so much at the podcast convention, and we've really I feel like refueled our fire for you guys, and we want to bring you the best content. So
we're excited to implement it.
Yeah, very much. So very exciting. A lot of good episodes coming up.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
I think that's it. We'll see you next week for part 2.